September 8th, COVID-19 Financial Oversight Committee. Appreciate you all being here. We do have a quorum, so we will get started. And first on the agenda is we are actually going to start with a couple of the department requests. We'll come back to a bigger picture framework after we hear from these two departments, but one of the things that you'll hear us talk about are the priorities and some of the more urgent needs. Because again, by the time this committee makes a recommendation and we take it to council and we get it contracted, there can be a pretty long runway, and some of these items are more urgent than others. And so we did put a request out to all of our metro departments earlier this summer. In fact, I think it was early June. And we were still waiting for all of the guidance. We're still waiting for that final guidance from the U.S. Treasury. But we do have all of their department requests. And as they've kind of been tapping on our shoulders and some of our urgent community needs, we did want to go ahead and bring two of our departments. These are not everything that these two departments have asked for, but we have asked them to bring just their most urgent needs to the committee today for your consideration. And so we're going to go ahead and start with Chief William Swan and the Fire Department. We also have Diane Lance here from Office of Family Safety. So Chief, if you want to start us off. Oh, nope, sorry, I got to, which one is all the way in back?
Testing, there we go. I was going to say I could speak loud, so, well first, oh.
Perfect, okay, we can, yeah, absolutely. And I think that mic is hot.
This one here?
Yep.
The other day we used this one because test. Testing.
There it is.
All right. Testing. Okay, I'm going to. Kristen, you okay?
You go there. Go ahead, Chief. We'll just keep that as the mic of choice.
All right. First, I want to thank everybody for being here. I know you guys were on the committee a few months ago. We were sort of went down the same pathway. I want to stay there. One of the things that I want to talk about is just how COVID has totally affected the way we do our jobs, as you guys know, and how it's affecting our department. Currently, right now in the Nashville Fire Department, we have 73 people off because of COVID. 73 people off because of COVID. And of course that breakdown is some due to they have family members, like I think it's 40, some that's off because of family, and then the others because they are infected themselves or getting over that. And then we sadly lost one of our members due to COVID. So our hearts and prayers go out to our family members for that. So how can we fix this? What can we do that we can do better? As I stated before, our light fleet situation is in dire needs. This is not a want, this is a need. We have to have this in order to be effective. What you have in front of you is a list that shows the breakdown of our SUVs. A total of the light fleet would be 61, but what I've done is just broke those down where you will see how and where they go. everything from being able to respond responsibly. Instead of having a full crew, you'll have a total of 2 people. In some aspects, you may even have 1. When we start talking about the fast car concept and also being effective, especially everybody's been downtown and you know how crowded and congested that is for us to be able to maneuver, manipulate into tight areas, residential areas. But being able to get these vehicles, we've got the oldest fleet in Nashville, the oldest fleet. We have vehicles that are 10 years old, that's pushing 200,000 miles. To the point that when we have something that happens to them, we cannot, getting work done on them, is the value versus the vehicle is so upside down. I blame this on no particular one. I just think for a department, we should never have gotten to this point. You guys know we're only as strong as our infrastructure, and we're only as strong as our first responders. So if we're able to utilize this in several ways, but the most important way is to cut down on response and be able to sanitize and make sure that we properly distancing. This will help us out tremendously. And again, every one of you guys I've talked to individually. Well, I'll take that back. I'm sorry. All of our Metro Council members, I have talked to them individually in depth about this situation, and I have been before this committee and talked about this very situation. So that's the equipment. The 50 cardiac monitors. This cardiac monitors that we have currently are just dated. We have to replace those and change those out. It'll be done in a very slow, methodical way because they are expensive. But if we're able to do this and do it now, what these monitors are, they're state-of-the-art. They're able now to telecommunicate with our physicians in our hospitals, our ERs, especially when you think about COVID, the process, and all when we know better, we do better. We're learning new things every day about how to treat and react to COVID patients. But think about the technology here is that now we're able to FaceTime and do things in real time with our physicians and people that will be able to help us clearly make the decisions that's best for our patients. And this put us, again, state-of-the-art, above, definitely ahead of the game. $1.9 million for that. And then the other is the 2 showers / toilet trailers. They're exactly what they are. Our training facilities are dated. They were built back in the 80s, and now when we have a recruit class, and I'm so thankful for our council members that are here, and the mayor and all the staff members from the office that blessed us with a much-needed boost as far as personnel. But when we run our recruits through, again, due to having proper staffing or proper distancing, when we start talking about showering and all this will be able to help us be able to keep proper distance and also provide what is needed for, especially when we look at our females that's coming on our department. At the training center, it's just not properly smaller, not that big at all to be able to accommodate what we're actually taking. So again, the great thing about these showers and trailers, this is another way that we can use for the future. If we have an event or something that happens anywhere, as far as the fire department, OEM, we're attached to everything. So we go somewhere and support where we had flooding in certain areas, we'll be able to take these there to help assist the population there. So even though we're purchasing this and we need it now for COVID, but for the future, and that's what we're doing with everything from our response vehicles to our cardiac monitors to our trailers, even though we need it now for COVID and for separation, for distancing, and to be able to do our job more efficient and safer, this will be able to go on past that when we get out of this phase and we can get everybody to vaccinate themselves. And we're testing 1,050, but we're vaccinating 50. So I'll just plug that in there. Yes, so I thank you for your considerations. Again, these are all needs.
Thank you. Are any of these vehicles or equipment to be used for OEM as well? Because I am acutely aware of how they are always on these scenes, and critically important. So is that, I also know it's kind of weird because you're ahead of it, but it's the mayor's office budget type stuff. So how are we
Thank you,
handling
Council
that?
Lady Courtney. I will be presenting too for OEM. This is strictly fire, but yes, OEM has its separate day that will be before you guys, but it's going to be the same story with fleet and making sure that we have enough to be able to support the staff that's there. Thank you for that question, though.
Councilwoman Sepulveda?
Thank you, Chief Swan, for being here and for all the work that you and your department do. I just had a quick question. What is the number of fleet vehicles? I don't think it's stated here. Is this just for one?
Could you repeat that one more time?
How many vehicles?
It'll say 25 dash, if you look on there. At the top, 25 dash SUV response vehicles,
Yeah.
25 vehicles.
Yeah, it's
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
For some
that's
reason,
fine.
I thought that was the number on the agenda.
Oh, no,
Thank you.
yeah, it's a total, it'd be a total of 61 of light fleet vehicles altogether. I just sort of separated those. And you guys know, I mean, again, all the work that's been done, not just here locally, where we went to our partners in the West and supported them during the flood. And also we sent a response team to Louisiana. They got back this week. They got back, I think it was Sunday. They were gone for a week. So again, man, these guys are doing a great job. Our department is just so great and big, and our run volumes are up. Matter of fact, if you look at just a real quick, and I know my time is short, but I just want to make a point. And I know I'm not have to sell this to you guys because you know it, but our run volumes are in EMS is almost 28% more, and then all the rest of them, which is fire and our medical runs, is like 26 point something. So look, guys, you know that our run volumes are just through the roof. It's not so much that we took, even during the COVID 2020, when things sort of plateaued out, we still seen an increase over the 2019, but now it's just our numbers are just phenomenal. They're going through the roof, and wear and tear on this heavy equipment that we thank God that we did get some relief from on our heavy fleet. And I want to thank again the mayor's office and the council for helping us there, where we're pretty much balanced on our heavy fleet, but our light fleet is just taking a beating. And again, this is not a want, it's a need.
Thank you, Chief Swan, for bringing this to us again today. We totally are there with you. We understand the need, and as you mentioned before, this was a need even last spring and summer at the height of the, I should say last year, at the height of the pandemic, and now here we are again, almost in the same place that we were then last year. A question about the fleet. Is this enough? Does this account for fleet that you have to replace? Is this all new fleet? Just want to make sure that as we're reviewing this request and looking at funds early on, that we want to designate to this project that we're putting enough.
Thank you for that question. Absolutely. This will, the only thing that I left off of this was a proposal that we've done that we can't support right now because of staffing. But this will actually replace and put us where we need to be. So if we can get this number and what we're asking for now, it will just make a remarkable change in our department. And remember, and you stated it very well, when I came to you, has it been a year? I don't know if it's even been a year. Has it been a year? I cannot keep up with time, and I mean that. But I'm telling everyone in here, things have never slowed down for us. Since 2020, 2021, it has not slowed down for us. Every day we're hitting the ground running, and again, and that goes out to my thoughts, and it's just really just being so proud to be the chief of such a great department. Both fire and then, of course, we'll be addressing OEM as well. So thank you for that.
Sarah Finley?
First of all, I just want to reiterate, thank you, Chief Swan, for all that you and your team are doing as first responders. You already always have safety challenges, but I know now they're even more extreme with COVID. I just had a practical question, which is, given sort of supply issues and things like that, how long do you think it would take to actually get this equipment and to have it in operation if it was approved?
You're asking how long would it take?
Yeah, how long, in other words, how long would it take to actually get these vehicles and get them operational, given all you hear about supply issues and difficulty getting vehicles, these days?
Right. Well, we all understand and know about the chip issue that we're having, and so my response would be that is, the best time would have been yesterday, but next best time it's today. My point is we've got to allocate this toward this project and get the ball rolling on it. I would hope and pray that at least starting the process of being, if you guys see fit that this is what this department needs, and it is, then we can address how quick we can get it, because we know we needed it. We needed it yesterday. I wish I could answer that question directly, but I will tell you that if we don't start today, then it's just going to put it off for tomorrow. So that is an issue with the chips, but I think if we can go ahead and allocate it, then I would assure you that General Service will do their part. We're trying to make sure that we push and find what we need to move on, but we've got to move from here, guys.
Councilwoman Johnston, did you have a follow-up?
So this total is 4.745 million. And that's what you've prioritized. What is your dream budget or ask?
Right.
Just the total amount.
Right. Well, we have reworked this, I don't know how many times. When we first started out, that number was completely through the roof. But I will say, right now, the priorities are what you see before you. And I would be extremely grateful and happy. And I'll guarantee you, guys, you're getting Class A service now. This will just help our department in so many ways. So if we can get this, Councilor Johnston, this is what we need.
I get it. What's your total ask, though, that's not pared down? Just a dollar value?
I'm afraid to say because I've reworked it many times, but it was somewhere in the number of, I think it was maybe 20 million. It was, the number was up there because what we did was really looked at things, what we would want and things that we would need. And you guys, from my perspective, what we look at things in a whole big, I have to look at things as the big picture. And what we try to do is get ahead of things that we need. And I try not to reinvent the wheel, but if there's a wish list that I can ask for, I try to make sure we have things that we need that's going to help us, because we got a lot of problems in Nashville. You know that, just like anywhere else, from our homeless, right, to our assessment centers, testing. All that stuff sort of falls up under fire and OEM. So it's a big list, a big list and a big need and wants. But for right now, this is the priority. Yeah, you have it.
Chief,
Thank you.
from the request you gave, sorry, I'm looking on my phone. I think it was 7.5 million.
For the last one?
Yes, this is what you put it to us in June.
Mm-hmm.
And that, what you don't have here right now is lower priority are the ATVs and the response vehicles you just talked about, and then you added the showers.
Okay, so thank you, Kristen, for that. And that's what I was saying. So we reworked it several times. I think the original list was like, it was up there, but this last one was 7 point. Okay, no, that's fine. I lost, well, I didn't lose. I broke my glasses, so I had to pull out something. And, can you? I'm sorry.
It's all right.
That's why they're fashionable. These are my wife's glasses. She don't know I got them.
She does now.
Let's see, you're like over in the share.
Okay.
Hold it.
Was it 7 point?
7.5
Okay, so 7.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's because we had SUVs, we have ATVs, all those things that are very critical as well, because when we talking about greenways, we talk about, again, downtown, when we just trying to make into congested areas, and making sure that when we respond to places that we're able to get in and out quickly and fast. And all of this come about because we've had situations. It's just remarkable how Nashville's growing. I mean, and guys, I'm telling you, every day we see this and the need that's in this city. And for a department, we're going to have to stay up with that growth. We're just going to have to. If not, it puts us in a vulnerable position where, and if we're in a vulnerable position, then that means the people that we're sworn to protect are in that position. Our guys would do everything they can do, but they got to have the tools to do that. And then the most important commodity that I have, the most important thing for me is the men and women that work for this department. So it's critical that we get them what they need to be able to accomplish the expectation that I have and you have for them, and I have for myself. So again, I hope you guys will help me and play a part with this, and let's get it done.
Thank you, Chief.
All
Are
right.
there any other questions? And do we as a committee want to take the two requests today separately, or do you want to vote once on both?
Let's vote separately.
We're going to say the same? Okay, I think that makes the most sense. So if there are no other questions, to keep everything moving, with this recommendation for 4.75, sorry, I went down to the next one already.
4.75, 45.
745, 500.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or any motions to be made regarding recommendations for funding? I hear a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we have all 9 in favor, 0 against, funding for the fire department for the items listed.
I thank you guys.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
All right, and Diane Lance is our director of our Office of Family Safety. Diane, thank you for being here. On the backside of the fire department, you have the, again, in fairness to Chief and Diane, we did ask them to only pick their priorities, so you will see their faces again. And we thank them for actually, paring it out just to the immediate needs. And so Diane, welcome, and thank you for being here to present.
Great, thank you. Everyone knows what fire does, but not everyone knows what the Office of Family Safety does, so I'm going to start with that. So Metro's Office of Family Safety is a pretty new department in Metro government. It's been around for about 6 years. And what we do is we focus on victims of interpersonal violence. That includes domestic violence, which is the vast majority, sexual assault, trafficking, child abuse, elder abuse, and stalking. So our job is to improve interpersonal violence victims' safety and offender accountability, and ensure that there is a collaborative working together to serve the needs of those victims of interpersonal violence. Before our department was formed, the nonprofit partners, the nonprofits in the city, as well as different entities within Metro government, all worked in silos and didn't work together. And we serve as the connective tissue between government and nonprofits, and within those various agencies together. So for example, this morning, we just met with all of our nonprofit partners, all our police partners, our court partners, and we worked on, where are the problems? What do we need to do? How can we correct it? And then our department's job is to try to maneuver through those areas of complication and make it work for victim safety and offender accountability. So I have a really lucky job. I love my job. So one of the things that we do in our department, we established 2 family justice centers for the city. One is in our courthouse across the street in the Birch Building. It is an award-winning center nationally. It is a model across the country for how you have a court-based family justice center. And we also have a community-based family justice center, which is the largest in the country. It's the most state-of-art in the country. It has the most comprehensive services in the country, also award-winning, and it is a flagship model nationwide. People come from all over the country to 2 or both of our centers. So it's something that I don't think a lot of people know that our city should be really proud of, as well as having the model of a standalone metro government department that oversees these things. We also have a model for how we prioritize high-risk victims. Not all victims have the same level of risk, so we have a system for prioritizing those that are at the highest risk of being killed by their offender or seriously injured. And that is also a model that we share and teach across the country, focusing on things like strangulation, firearm possession, especially for those that should have been dispossessed of their firearm, sexual abuse, and things like that. So COVID has had a tremendous impact on our work, as you can imagine, especially in the area of domestic violence. Our clients, the number of our clients increased 20% last year. And the level of severity of offenses dramatically increased, and I think that was seen across the country. So even though you have 20% increase in clients, what we were seeing and hearing was so much worse and so much more dangerous. And then we had a 71% increase in the number of sessions with clients. So normally, before COVID, people would come and see us 1 to 2 times. We're very much crisis intervention, like on the spot for the order of protection, safety planning, assess your risk, but people needed us more. And so our average was about 5 to 7 sessions per client, and that's why we saw such an increase in visits. And part of that is the increase in need, the increase in severity of abuse we were seeing from everyone being kind of locked in at home under high-pressure situations, but also the increase in accessibility. So we don't expect that to really go down because we now do, like everyone else, we have remote services with victims, and we have a lot more platforms to work with them. So our requests here today, again, like Kristen said, and Mary Jo, we pared down our request to the highest priority. And that has 2 requests that are specific to our department. That is 4 high-risk case managers and an emergency fund to help victims. There are also 2 requests that are focusing on our partners' needs. We have a program where we give grant money to our nonprofit partners to let them help us accomplish our citywide goals and mission. And so we have some pretty bad wait lists across the city for therapy. And so we have a request to try to reduce those wait lists, and then also after-hours crisis services to victims that happen at our Family Safety Center, our community-based one. So I'll just sort of take it quickly one by one. I know I have a limited amount of time. I'm going to start by talking about those 4 high-risk case managers that we are requesting for our department, the Office of Family Safety. And that cost is $270,000 per year. Anything I'm talking about involving a position, you can't hire anyone for a year or less, so we're talking about a couple of years plus. And case management is really to fill in that gap between crisis services, like you are right off the scene, the police have brought you to us, we're helping you, and therapy. So there's this gap in between, those 5 to 7 visits, where they need to see the same person over and over and really get them through the crisis to the point and to buy some time until therapy. And that is a real gap of services in our community. And certainly, for case management would be about 2 months. So, so that's really what we want. Our highest areas of demand for that type of case management is in the area of trafficking, our Trafficking Court, which is run by Judge Escobar. So if You need to talk to her about our need for that. She is the one that you would talk to because they are the ones that refer to us, and it is a horrible wait list, and we have 1.5 case manager that can help these people, which is really unfortunate. And the other areas in our high-risk clients. So high-risk clients, those that are who have been strangled, those who have been threatened or abused with a firearm, those who have been abused while pregnant, all of those high-risk things, those folks need more care and attention and would be put into a high-risk case management system within our office. So it is a service we do not provide now and is clearly needed. The second area that we have asked for is that emergency fund. I don't know if a slush fund is the right way to use it, but we have people with a lot of needs for, one, just simply for court. The folks that come in, they just can't afford parking. And that seems really basic, but when they come to us and they have to go to court, they're subpoenaed to court, and these victims can't afford parking and they're desperate, and our advocates are like going into their purse and handing the money, it's a problem. So that is one area. We saw and I'm not fudging this number, we saw a 900% increase in clients having financial needs. So when we do a need assessment on every client that comes in, last year, 900% more said that they had need for financial assistance than we had ever had people say. I don't know, and that some of that could be people are just more open about it, as well as people losing jobs because of COVID and the higher stress, financial stresses. So those are the two things that are directly for our department. And that total for those two for our department was $370,000. So then we talk about what we are requesting for our partners. Yes, sir.
The emergency fund is
100,000, yes. For our partners, again, our job is to really listen to the needs of our nonprofit partners and what they're seeing in the community. And the one thing that really rose to the top and most concerned me were the wait lists for therapy for adults and children. The Family and Children's Services has a 2-month wait list, and we asked them how many therapists they need to eliminate that wait list. It was 2.5. The Mary Parish Center had a 2 to 4 week wait list, and they would need 1 therapist to drive that down. The police department, a lot of people don't know, our police department is one of the only places that you can get free therapy in our city if you've been a victim of crime or a family member has been killed. And they're unbelievable. They are really gifted and talented, and they have a 1-month wait list for those who are English speaking, a 3-month wait list for those that are Spanish speaking, and they would need 5 therapists to drive that down. I was just on the phone with them this morning, and they're actually shifting to a model of only acute therapy that gets you through the crisis because they're just so overlogged, and that's really unfortunate. That they're having to do that, in my opinion. The Nashville Children's Alliance, which works with sexually abused and severely physically abused children, they're also located in the Family Safety Center. These are all our Family Safety Center partners. These are the people working like this with my department every day. They have a 9-month waiting list for English-speaking children, a 6-month waiting list for Spanish-speaking children, and they would need 3 therapists. Sexual Assault Center has a 4 to 6 month waiting list for adults, a longer waiting list for Spanish speaking, and even longer still for children. I'm just going to be frank. I've always worked in this field. I'm not a therapist. My department doesn't do therapy. My husband died suddenly 3 months ago tomorrow, and it's been very traumatic, and there's been a lot of grief. And the thought, it just breaks my heart, the thought of looking at these wait lists, because every one of these people on this wait list are in trauma and grief. And I got to go to get a counselor within 1 week, and that maybe a week and a half, and that was excruciating to wait for. And I get to go, because my EAP pays for free, twice a week to deal with my grief, and it's so hard to find free counseling therapy in this city. And I just can't imagine how much these people are suffering, and it really breaks my heart on that point too, I do want to emphasize the importance of those cardiac monitors that our chief is talking about, and making sure that people that have these cardiac issues can be well taken care of quickly and taken to the hospital. So that's a real deep concern we have for our nonprofit partners. And again, the total for that was $1,069,490. And again, it's also the police department was in that number.
That 1,069,000.
Well, let me add that up. Sorry, I think I forgot to put in the sexual assault center, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 and a half. And I think the sexual assault center was a couple, so it's about 14, but I'm not sure I'm giving you the precise number because I forgot to write on my, here, I think I have it here, what the sexual assault center was. Yeah, sexual assault center was 5, so 5, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16 and a half. Yes.
Councilwoman Sepulveda? Oh, sorry, I've got,
Thank you.
yep, I've got two others.
I'm very sorry for your loss. I
Thank
know
you.
that must be hard. I do have some questions. One, can we get that list sent to us, the wait list for each organization, and including the English and the Spanish, because I only was able to get a little piece of that. And you said this is the entirety of the organizations y'all work with?
We work with other organizations. These are some of the primary we work with, and these are the ones that respond to us about their wait lists.
Okay. Thank you for that. My concern mainly is that I don't see some minority organizations, and so I don't know what the outreach is for that. I'm glad that a lot of these organizations are offering therapy in Spanish as well. I know that resources in minority communities are much fewer, and so I could imagine how much harder it is to find organizations who are able to take some of that responsibility as well. So I do understand that. I just wanted to point that out because that might be something that we need to look at down the road for the Black immigrant community.
We have really strong partnerships in that. We have a part of our department that is their job. We have 2 individuals that focus on that type of outreach and work with those partners. But in terms of the larger therapy providers that work with us, these are the larger ones that work with victims of interpersonal violence to provide free or nominal cost therapy.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we have grant positions and Metro position that focuses in that area.
Okay. So again, if you could send us that list, that would be great. So we have that as a reference.
Okay.
And Diane, if you get it to me, I can send it to the committee.
Okay.
John
Thank you.
Henry? Sorry, I'm just going in order. Oh, hold on, let me get your,
it. And very sorry for the loss of your husband.
Thank you.
That's so hard. But you fast questions. As you requested in the case manager, looking at the second year need, because it's hard to hire people at less than that, does the same apply for the bottom 2 personnel additions?
Yes, anything with personnel for whoever, that would be the nonprofit, the police, or especially police, because they have such a onboarding process, would be a minimum of 2, because you just won't be able to hire.
So in the bottom 2 requests, is the request an incremental $1.4 million as well for the second year?
Yes, this is per year that I've been saying. Thank you. It's a great question.
And then on the emergency funding of the $100,000, and I know everything's a need, but if you took that need into a little bit more of a want to make, that interaction a little bit easier, what's the real need for that number? Is it 150,000? Is it 200,000?
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused.
You're asking for $100,000 for
Yes.
the emergency funding or emergency needs, clothes, boxes, small things like that. If you got to rewrite that number, would it be slightly higher than that?
Well, probably, especially if we created a fund that our nonprofit partners could pull out of to use for their emergency needs.
Thanks.
Let me get your mic.
Thank
Councilmember
you.
Johnston.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you do. And again, I'm sorry for your loss. You made me cry. So I am a little bit confused. So the high-risk case manager is at $270,000. That's really, because I would rather do this for the whole 2 years, to be honest with you. I would rather do it in one fell swoop, and because I don't see the point in hiring for 1 year and then having to apply and having that limbo type thing. I'm actually a little bit concerned about it after the end of the 2 years for the sustainability, because I think what we learned in this past budget process that's unbelievably evident is that we are grossly underestimating the mental health needs in our community. And so I don't see this going away. I don't think that's a temporary, COVID's exacerbating things, but I certainly think that this is something that has been a need for a while that people don't like to talk about. And so we just sort of end up not doing it. And now it's been brought to the forefront, thankfully. So I don't know how we're going to deal with it past the 2 years. But I would like to see this not annualized, but for the full 2 years. So I think we'd be looking at more like $3.6 million, because the 100,000 is for 1 year, right? So let's double that. So really you would be at $640,000 for your total operating, if I'm doing math right. And then the therapy clinicians at 1.069 doubled would be 2 million, I would rather look at it that way, and obviously it's up to the group, but that's how I would prefer to do it, is go ahead and fund whatever your needs are for those 2 years. The other question that I had is, how many partners do you have? How many? You're obviously asking for the major ones right now to
Yes.
help fund those things, to help get through that waiting list. How many partners do you have, and can you name those, or is there may be a thing where you can't name who those?
We can, of course, name them, and they're in our annual report, which I'm happy to send you the link to. We have
Perfect.
a lot of partners. Let me write that down. We have a lot of partners. It's our understanding that there's a whole separate part of this process that would open up to nonprofits. And so that's why we're really focusing on this wait list
Gotcha.
to those that most absorb our client referrals
Sure.
for therapy.
Perfect. If we can get that list, or your annual report with all of your partners, and then the list of the partner agencies that you are requesting additional FTEs for, so that we know sort of where that money, where you plan on having that money. And then if you feel like you need to Mr. Henry's point, if you feel like you need to revise, let's do it right the first time. I don't want to underfund something. So if you feel like you need to add something to that emergency fund for 2 years, which would be $200,000, if you feel like it would be better served, I think this is a huge need for people. And again, we haven't talked about it in years past. It's very stigmatized, but it's insidious throughout our entire community. So again, I appreciate what you do. I do sort of want to tap into the sustainability of it. And so what we can use to take these 2 years, I know we can spend this money for more than 2 years, but there's got to be what I don't want to do is have this amazing influx of cash and be able to get through all this, and then in 2 years have the rug pulled right out from underneath you, which, we're grateful for what we have, but I certainly would like to be in a position where we can find an annual funding, a recurring funding source for that, whether, wherever that is, that's her. So, but thank you so much.
Councilwoman Gamble.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Lance, for being here, and I too, sorry for your loss. I remember last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was a presentation, and there was a need for additional space because of COVID and social distancing, and people, more clients, the increase, 20% more clients coming in. I don't see that on your list. Is that still a need
It
today? And
is.
is that something that maybe we could add and look at? Because as Councilmember Johnson said, I agree that we should look at this holistically and not just for 1 year while we're considering this.
So you have a good memory. And, you know, the third floor of the Family Safety Center was shelled out, knowing that there will be future needs, but let's wait and see how they evolve organically. And so there is, it is on our list, but it's not on our, like, first front runner list. We were asked to bring the absolute priorities here, and there's a lot of discussion around the third floor at a minimum. I mean, I can go into great detail about what we need, but the overall sort of gist of what we need is we clearly need a juvenile assessment center. It's like a diversion space for juveniles. We need a place where children land between removal and placement into out of an abusive situation and placement into a safe situation. That is a really distressing thing that happens to children in our county, is that in-between period. It is awful, and it's not acceptable. And the third thing is a large-scale meeting and training place, one, to be safe when things like this happen, that we can have space and still meet in person, because that's where great changes and great discussions happen, is face-to-face. And the building, you know, the number of partners we have, we don't have a space in the building that can accommodate our collaborative teams. I mean, you're talking about, you know, the other teams that we have and the other type of partners. I mean, we can barely meet together in one space with our core partners, let alone our expanded partners in the city. So that's what we're talking to Kristen about, who has just been so thoughtful and mindful about it in all our discussions. But this was sort of emergency.
More to come. I've got Jose Gonzalez and then Councilwoman Sepulveda.
Thank you. The first question I have actually is probably for you, Mary Jo, and that's, again, trying to understand kind of the flow and timelines of the requests and the money. Because if I recall correctly, this money is available through the end of '24.
Correct.
And we're hearing a request for 2 years. Does it make sense to align the requests for things that we're going to hear in this committee that are sure to be needs on an ongoing basis beyond '24? And I understand that somebody else will have to figure out what happens.
Yeah, we
January 1st,
have
25.
talked about, we're looking at this in a couple different ways. We look at it as in two tranches, like we're getting inflow of funds twice. So, but it's not a 2-year program. It's really closer to 4. Keep in mind, some of the commitments can actually then be spent down even another 2 years. So we have talked about that. But what we really do want to do is make sure that before we are appropriating 4 years worth of funding, that we're actually taking some key, you know, data, statistics, measurement. We might have to pivot. It might be something different. It might be different partners. So I think it's important that we provide enough time to, you know, hire great people that will come work for what might be 2 years, but also have an opportunity to assess, pivot, grow. So the idea, and you'll see as a committee, is not to commit all of the funds and then not have that opportunity to extend it for the additional time.
And so I think that answers the question. And so my second question that I had was, so this request, if we're talking about close to a $3 million request, would be from that first pool.
Correct.
One of 2 that we will receive. That first pool is what would honor this request. Okay. And then the second point in question, and I think I see that later in the agenda, is about the connection between these nonprofits that you're mentioning that would receive funding through this request, and then others. Is there something we should, as a committee, be thinking about, or how the connectivity between the broader nonprofit strategy and this particular nonprofits that would receive some funding through.
And we're going to
through
talk
this.
about that
Yep.
today.
Just
Yep. It's
just trying to get
it's a great
educated on this
question. There's a lot to really start to synthesize, and I think hopefully by the end of today, we'll have a little clearer picture of our forward path.
And I'm sorry, I did forget to mention the one other specific thing with a nonprofit, and that's just my drama brain going on. But the other one was Agape. They do all of the after orders of protection work in our community-based family safety center. So evenings and weekends, overnight and weekends. And right now they have one person that does it, every night, and then someone on the weekend. And the problem with that is that it takes about 60 to 90 minutes to do an order of protection with someone. And so if you have two people, police bring two people at the same time or near the same time, you have people waiting in the middle of the night with their children, basically sleeping on the sofas there until it's their turn, and it's also wasteful of police time, who should be back out on the streets. And so that ask was $135,000 per year to get 2 after-hours order of protection advocates for Agape. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Thank you.
Have you?
Yep, with the night court guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really long.
I've got Councilmember Sepulveda and then Sarah Finley.
So I had a question, and I kind of worked it out in my head. So the Office of Family Safety, you all just had a new building built next to the police precinct on Murfreesboro Road. So my question was specifically for the growth of the organization and it being just built. I don't think there's any plans to look for another location that's a little bit bigger. Is there?
Oh, no, this building was built to expand.
Okay.
That's why we have the 3rd floor. It is a spectacular building, and if you all have not seen it, I'm happy to give you a tour. It will make you so proud of your city and what we invested in.
Sarah Finley?
Yeah, I just had a clarifying question on the $1,069,000. So I see it's to fund clinicians for these various partner members, and it says that it's a fund that's, it seems like it's sort of a fund that's administered by your office. Is the idea that this amount is going to be used to give a grant for a nonprofit to hire someone as an employee? Is it for contract services? Because I'm just trying to think about the practicalities of how you go out and get people if they feel like their funding is short-term, and if that would be the assumption if we didn't do a longer-term funding. I'm just trying to get a sense of how you see that going out and actually getting implemented.
That's a great question, and it's something that our department has a lot of experience in. So right now, a certain amount of our budget is what's called community partnership funds, and we distribute grants to certain nonprofits. So we are actually in the process now. We sent out the solicitation. You have to have certain baseline criteria of working with the Family Safety Center in some form or fashion, and they propose what they will do with those funds under what the guidelines were that we said we wanted the funds to be used for. Also, what metrics, how we're going to be able to measure your success. And then we award those grants over the course of a year. My finance officer monitors those grants, and another person fiscally, and another person in our office monitors them operationally to make sure that they're reaching their metrics. So this is something we're actually pretty good at, and we're pretty fast at. So, I mean, 40% of our budget comes from grants, federal and state grants, and 60% from Metro. And so grant work is our bread and butter, so we know how to reverse it to our nonprofits. But that's the formula we would use for this.
And if I can piggyback off that, with OFS, their request is kind of split, that we'd be looking at an appropriation for the department for the case managers that they would hire as their own employees. And then what we are recommending is this other pool of funds that, as a committee, we don't have to sit here and have all of the organizations that Ms. Lance just described come present to you, because she and her team really do have that expertise. It really is something that they do, every year, throughout the year. And rather than have us go through that application process, her team would actually run that application process, because they know who are the partners that have the capacity to fulfill what is needed in the city. So that is the idea that now what that does mean, just for some of our council members, is it means that after the process is complete, those contracts have to come back before council. So this committee would make the recommendation, council would approve the pool of funds, and then Diane's team would go back through that process, and once those contracts are awarded, those contracts would come back through council for approval. So that's how that landscape looks, if that helps. Okay, and I've got Councilwoman Sepulveda, and then I've got Representative Love, and then Johnston. And microphones.
Okay. So just for to help you out a little bit, when it comes back to council, these contracts, what we've been hearing a lot these past couple of meetings is we need more diversity as far as organizations who receive funding. And so we're going to get asked this, like how many minority organizations were reached out to. So my question is, with this ask that you have given us, do you need more time to go back and reevaluate, or doubling this to make it a 2-year funding, is that enough, or do you want more time to reevaluate some of these numbers?
I think we're pretty solid in the numbers, and doubling for the 2-year minimum request, I think, are that we could easily have some shift where some people say, you know what, we found another source, so now we're down to 1. And which might leave a little leverage for a nonprofit that's not on this list. But we really did communicate with all of our partners about therapy, because again, this is therapy. And so there are the people that are doing it. What we don't want to do, and we're very careful of, is offering up money that gets a nonprofit to mission drift. And, to drift off of their mission to chase the money, and all of a sudden they're starting to have a therapist. We really want those that are experienced and good at doing that for therapy. I'm okay with a little bit of mission drift in the smaller scale things, but not when it comes to therapists.
Okay, Representative Love, let me get your microphone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I certainly join my colleagues in giving condolences to you in your
Thank you.
transition to your husband. I know that we have the ability, because of the Treasury guidelines, to talk about other uses for funds like violence interrupter programs. And I don't want to mission drift your work unless you're open to it.
Definitely.
As we're trying to reduce the number of organizations that do come before us, when you talk about the violence in the neighborhoods and violence that folks experience and the therapy that people receive, I know that there's an opportunity for organizations to engage in reducing violence in other ways, and opportunity for them to even prevent persons seeking retribution.
Yep.
And in some regard also provide some type of therapy. I didn't know if you had organizations applying for grants in that area, or maybe if you would consider that an area in which, if you had the funding, you would be able to administer grants, if I'm making sense.
You are. And the Violence Interrupters Program, I've just so excited about the work being done on that. Inspector Imhoff has been working a lot on that. I'm a former prosecutor, Inspector Imhoff was my favorite detective to work with in the Child Sex Abuse Division. He's probably the best detective, or in my opinion, the city's ever had. But so I'm a big fan of his, and he's doing great work, and he's doing great research, and we talk nearly weekly about the topic, and I'm excited about that. Where our area, I think, in that is in dating violence, prevention of that, the beginnings of dating violence in the younger population. That is an area we do not do any prevention work as well. Am I going over my time? Oh, okay. I'll sort of move my stuff around as we talk. Is this? No, this is you. Batters intervention programs as well. I can get on my soapbox on that. I think there's a enormous amount of improvement that can be done and consistency that can be created in Batters Intervention Program, and I would love the Family Safety Center in my department to take a shot at creating a model Batters Intervention Program. It's been a 2-year goal of mine we just have had some other priorities that have overshadowed that. So in terms of directly within our mission, the violence interrupting for dating violence would be in it. Batters intervention programs would be in it. The other aspect of David's work, I don't know where that's going to land. I can see more and more that our department is being called upon as really that great liaison in the area of public safety that straddles police and the community. And I do believe, with the momentum that I'm seeing, and I have a pretty good instinct just being in this business for a long time, that I think we're going to be called upon to expand our mission into that area, because our department tends to be the trusted face of not so much community policing, but a community arm between government and the nonprofit services. And I'm very open to that expansion if it's just openly expanded. So this is public safety, taking our model of what we do for interpersonal violence and expanding it out. But that would be a mayor's office decision.
I see. Yeah, and I was kind of envisioning the granting process, and this may also get to Councilor Sepulveda's point about other organizations, because we have a lot of minority-led nonprofits who are doing violence interruption with no funds.
Yep.
Like Gideon's Army, shutting down violence in some of our housing areas, but with no funds.
Right.
So I didn't know if in your section for nonprofit partners, and again, I didn't want to mission drift you.
Yep.
And maybe it's a situation where we can circle back around on another request. I don't want to muddy up this one. I know how.
I understand.
I've had a few bills where folks hung Christmas lights on, and it would start out as one thing and end up being, then the bill didn't go anywhere. So I don't want to do that to you. All right. So, but just keep that in mind as you may circle back. Just that conversation.
I think it's a really stimulating conversation. I'd like to be a part of it. And that's something we would continue with Kristen. And if something were to happen like that, it would be a corner of my department that, I only have one finance officer, and one finance officer can't monitor nonprofits that are a little on the inexperienced side in being measured operationally and fiscally. So that would take some extra resources.
And I know this doesn't cover all of everything that you were referring to, Representative Love, but we do have within our guiding principles community safety, and we do have a program. In fact, Councilwoman Gamble could speak to it as being on the advisory committee that is focusing on some other areas of our anti-violence and community. So we will come back to that.
I was going to let her talk about the community safety aspect of it first.
Excellent. Let me.
We're on there, so.
Okay.
Thank you. And yes, there is a community safety partnership fund that is allocated $1 million to cure violence and violence interruption. And Gideon's Army is at the table for that funding and some other nonprofits, but you are absolutely correct. That is something that we need to do. There is some funding directed towards that outside of this American Rescue Act program. But thank you for bringing that up.
Excellent. So, did you have another question? Sorry, did I catch you? Okay, so let me summarize real quick where I think we are at. I think that I heard consensus that the total request, and I did the calculation and don't have the original in front of me, but that we. Well, I took the 1,574,490, the total, and just doubled that for 2 years. So 3,148,980.
Okay, so that $100,000 doubled, yep.
Yep, so if we just doubled the entire, to make sure that we had enough funding for 2 years, that not only for staffing at OFS as employees, but for the grant funding that would be available for the nonprofits, that they would apply for 2-year grants so that they too would have the same pathway for some consistent staffing over the 2 years. So did I get that correct, Diane? So that
was my calculation when I did on my calculator a few minutes ago. I'm just double checking it.
And so again, just to reiterate, and I may need Alex's help on how to make this resolution work, but what I am hearing is that we would do an appropriation for the budget for OFS, which would essentially be $740,000, and then the nonprofit funding, essentially a pool of funds, which would end up being yes, for nonprofits, and that process then would be administered by the Office of Family Safety. I have a second. So for any other questions or discussion? Oops, 1 second. Let me get your mic.
Yeah, if we do a resolution for this, and the idea is that this is a 2-year commitment, we're sort of still engaged in this process at the end of that 2 years. In terms of, I know Alex has to do the resolution, the details, are we going to create a mechanism to sort of assess it again for potential renewal beyond that, or like a time?
Yes.
Maybe for Diane to report back to us?
If you recall, all of our grants have had required monthly reporting. So we would ask for that same reporting. Diane, I'm putting you on the spot because that reporting would all go to your team, who would then submit a report to the Oversight Committee.
All right, let me add a position to a monthly reporting. Just kidding.
Do we really need to do monthly reporting for this? Because these are for annual positions that she's hiring people. So that, to me, it's like, what is she going to do? Say, okay, we paid them $3,000?
Well, it could be number of, cases or patients or, advocate meetings. I mean,
I think that's burdensome. I would be okay with quarterly reporting. I just think that's a lot of cases, that's a lot of whatever, and the money really is for a position. So I would be okay with quarterly because I see her eyeballs.
I'm about to pass out now. That might place an awful lot of reporting with a cumbersome database that we currently have.
okay, so we agree on the 2 years, which would be a total of the $3,148,980. We know what the split is between internal and external. We would ask for a quarterly report back from OFS. I've got a couple more hands. Jose? Oh, sorry, and I'm in charge of these darn, yep.
There we go. So it's a quick comment as someone that's usually on the other side and has to do all the reporting. So I appreciate that. I'll tell you, for me, the one thing that resonated with me is, in essence, this is the way I understood it. This money buys the waiting time down to almost nothing. And you made a compelling argument for that, right? Like if what this money does is basically buy the capacity so that people don't have to be waiting to me, that would be the only report I would want to hear. Indeed, that's the outcome. People are not waiting more than 2 weeks to see. Forget about all the nitty-gritty of the reporting, from my perspective.
Okay.
I need reporting. I'm going to be the opposite of people here. Based on our last experience with CARES, a lot of council members wanted that extra information. So zip codes, demographics, age range, because they wanted to know if we were missing a certain population. So when we had that study done by the Equity Alliance, they told us, demographic zip codes of people who needed help. And so we were able to tie that back in and make our case to the council body as to why this is important, why we need to fund this. So let's say that you come back to us 4, 5, 6 years down the line, you could point to this and say, hey, Metro Council, this is why we need this funding, because it helps these communities. And so I agree, maybe a quarterly report. If you only have one staffer, quarterly report makes sense. But the reporting is specifically for your case managers or for the therapy clinicians? Do you know?
We would require quarterly reports from the nonprofits.
Okay,
That's
yes.
what we do, and that would be for the therapist positions. Anything that is funded under us would be in our, anything directly to us would be outlined in our annual report, which is on my list to show you and to send that to you. That is, we have a very comprehensive annual report.
Okay, yes. All right, I just need a clarification on that.
Last year's is, I still have, it's stuck on my desk to edit, so you'll be getting the year before.
Yeah, and if this is going to specific nonprofits and they have to create the reporting, you won't have to create the reporting, correct? Or do you help them?
We sum it up and we help
Okay.
guide them and help them define their metrics with the help of the mayor's office, which is fabulous at performance metrics. So yeah, we guide them a lot.
Yeah, I think the most important reporting would be there is no wait time, but I still think that we should have some type of reporting, even if it's simplified a little bit more than the last reportings we did under CARES.
Okay. I've got Representative Love, let me get your microphone. Okay.
Thank you, and I would agree with the need for the reporting just so that you can also see what the nonprofits are serving. Mm-hmm. And if they are not serving certain areas of town and there's a wait list that is still there, then we can then say, well, listen, the money's been allocated and you're missing a population or a segment of the city right now, and you still have time to correct it in that next quarter. But this first quarter, you may have missed somebody, and we all know that everybody's watching where the money's going. And it'll, I think, just reduce some of the headache when folks see that it's actually going to be out there and the reports coming in. And as council members, you know that your constituents will be wanting to know, well, why is it that I'm still having to wait when I go by and say, well, now we got another nonprofit to now adjust their services. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gamble?
Thank you. You mentioned you will send us the list of your partners. Do you know offhand how many there are? And with this particular funding, I know this is to increase your capacity to not have the waiting list, but will it also drive more outreach so that, because I know you've got more people coming in and there's probably going to be more people that need service, will it also help drive that? Are you looking to get any new partners to help address the need as well?
We're always looking for new partners. Again, we just established our community-based center 1 year before COVID. And then we, went remote. So again, it's in the report. It's not on the top of my mind. I'm sure we're well over 20, with formalized MOUs and then a lot of partners that we just work with and rely on us. So I moved again. We have an executive staff. I moved a member of my executive team to outreach to focus on underserved populations, and that's her job. And we have a grant position, and she goes out in the community and works in the Latina community to provide services where people are rather than coming in to us. And we have a good number of bilingual staff, and if you've got bilingual staff in this business, people come. So we have quite a few Spanish speakers and one Arabic speaker, and the Arabic speaker is new to us, and we're already seeing an increase in that area. So that's how you get that done. But I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number.
But you are hoping this would help also bring.
Yeah, that's the meat of our business, is partnerships. But, they have to add something to the table and be working with the Family Safety Center, and then we provide benefits to them too. It's sort of a win-win relationship.
Okay, I'm going to move us along. I really want Kristen to be able to start to get into the bigger picture framework, and she has exactly like 6 minutes. So, Diane, thank you so much. If everybody wants to look for Chief's keys, I thought it was so nice. That he was spending the rest of the meeting with us, except I found out now he's trapped. Yeah, I am. I'm not. So we have the 2 years for $3,148,980. We have quarterly reporting to include wait times along with the existing demographics that we had previously. We've talked about the split between the 4 internal case managers and the pool of funds to be administered by Office of Family Safety. What I'd like to propose is this one's maybe a little bit more complicated, not complicated, but a little more thorough in our wording for a resolution. If perhaps maybe one of the council members could be the sponsor and work with me one-on-one for the wording of the draft, just so that before we submit it, we'd like to actually submit these Fridays so that they are on the next council agenda. So if I can get a motion with all of that for the approval.
All of that.
What else did I miss, Alex?
Who's the council person?
Councilmember Johnston.
Okay. Can we also get someone for the fire one too, just in case there's any?
Sure. Thank you, Councilwoman Gamble.
So that's all part of one as well.
Okay, so I have a motion, proper second? Yes, and then have all the council members added as sponsors. Excellent. Any other questions, debate? All in favor? Any noes? Any abstentions? Thank you. Okay. And did you pass out copies?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Thank you,
All of you
Kristen.
should have a stapled copy of
Diane, thank you.
this framework. And we're going to do this in the very executive version, if you don't mind. I have a 4:30 with Judge Sheila Calloway, and I don't want to keep her waiting. All I've done here is taken the department requests as well as some of the discussions that we have had, and I've slotted them against those guiding principles we discussed last time. Treat this all as a flexible preliminary framework that you all are going to shape. This is a tool for you. I don't want anyone to think that we're overstepping our boundaries here, other than we're bringing you all something that you can work through and think through as we make allocations. We can find a way to better update this along the way. But I did want you to see where, as we are slotting in particularly priority items that have been brought to us by others, what this full picture is looking at like. The good news, I think, is if you look at our first year of having $129.5 million, if you think about it that way, I realize we're going to struggle through a little bit, probably this multi-year thing for a minute or two. If I kind of look at the way my totals are ranging out right here in this current version of the framework, it's between 126 and 160 million. So we're not going to be too far off right now based on the requests that are coming in. Now, the reality is there's a world and a universe that's going to be a lot bigger than this as we continue through this process, and we're just going to have to keep updating the framework and working with it as we go. But you'll see guiding principle number 1 on this first page is the one that we discussed last time, which is prioritizing our investments in our direct emergency pandemic response. A lot of these categories should look familiar to you. The dollar amounts may actually come down as we work through them because we have some other funding sources out there associated with the CARES Act and with the American Rescue Plan. For example, health has a $26 million CDC. I don't know what the ELC stands for, but there's an ELC note next to it, is the abbreviation grant. And we're actually funding a fair amount of vaccination assessment center and homeless sheltering out of that too. And so I'm going to be working those numbers down with Chief Swan, OEM, social services in the coming weeks, and hope that that number may even have some room to come down as we work through those. But these categories should be familiar to you, at least on this first page at the top from the CARES timeframe. Below it, there's some things that we are bringing forward that might be newer to you all. We spent some time looking at requests in the CARES period, but I think there's more opportunity now for us to look at the funding and the uses, especially since some of the response work is getting relieved through other funding sources. We'd like to look at HVAC ventilation and filtration systems in our government buildings, technology and support for social distancing, and a number of other equipment needs. So just like today, we would look for the appropriate way, hopefully find some ways to summarize some of the multi-department ones so you don't have to listen to every person coming in and talking about their HVAC system. But we'll find a way to get you all some of these needs better qualified. On the second page, I think these are the ones that you are going to be most relating to as you hear from nonprofits and in the community in the short term for immediate relief needs. Again, the important words here, if we talked about last time, was gap filling. This needs to be about gap filling immediate relief needs. There's a lot of state and federal funding out there. We're really going to try to spend time looking for where there are gaps and holes and needs specifically and align to those. I put in already the United Way funding that was approved for the emergency rental assistance in the last meeting. You'll see here, and I think there's going to be some continued conversation right after I leave on nonprofits and nonprofit funding. You'll see we're talking about establishing some type of fund and drawing down from that in specific priorities. And Mayor Joe will talk a little bit more about possibly doing a nonprofit survey to get a better understanding out there of some of the needs. You'll also see small business and economic recovery and some vulnerable population pieces, including, and we'll populate going forward, this Office of Family Safety approval that you all just made. One item I want to highlight, because we'll probably be talking about it in the next meeting, is there is an organization, we'll get you some background information, called Fuse Corps, which has a fellowship program. And looks like we could get some really low-cost talent to work on some pretty big problems for ourselves. And so I wanted to bring that forward for you all to look at. And when I say low cost, it costs us a little, and they bring in a lot of philanthropy to pay for support. Guiding principle 3 on this last page is really going to be more that structural work we talked about, programs, and these are all examples that were shared last time. I've started to assign out some dollars in talking with some of our leadership on the needs and the way those could align. But again, this is all very preliminary. And then lastly, you'll see the previous approvals. One other thing we're recommending that I think would be new relative to the CARES, but I think when you talk with Mary Jo and hear about some of the reporting requirements we're getting from the U.S. Treasury, you will understand it's very much needed, is for us to set aside 1% to support some administrative work on the reporting and reviewing. Again, this, I'm sorry to be so quickly going through this, but this is, again, only meant to be a framework. We will update it. We will change it. You all will change it as we go, and I don't want you to think that there's any presumption of what it looks like. As a matter of fact, I think what it'll look like at the end will be different at the end of the day, but at least it'll start slotting us in. And then I'm just going to say thank you to you all. And
I can take some questions on this. Kristen, thank you for being here till the 11th and a half minute that you were allowed and presenting that. Kristen's done a lot of really, really important work and worked with our departments to make sure that we captured their needs, their wants, a few hopes and dreams, but all looking at how we can better serve, from a public safety, public health, and then you can see we really get into community needs. And then even as we talked about, eligibility within the rescue plan talks about vulnerable populations and some of the impact that has been going on much longer than the pandemic. So that's kind of how you see those principles. Yes, Councilwoman Sepulveda, let me get your mic.
Thank you. I think this looks great, and it covers a lot of the things that, some of us had in mind and people have been talking about. But I think I remember us talking about, and Jose brought this up too, about getting community input and figuring out what that looks like. We talked about putting it through the hub and letting people submit, what they would like to see funded in the hub, and I think a lot of it's probably is already on here. Right. But I do think it's important to make sure that we're not missing anything and that we're all on the same page. And this committee's the funding goes through 2024, and I don't know how many of us are going to be here the entirety of the time. I don't know if the committee's going to switch up or people come and go, and just want to make sure that the principles and the need remain true. And I don't think it would vary very much from here, but I still think it's important to have some mechanism.
And if you don't mind, I do want to come back to that because I do want to talk about some of the nonprofit needs and surveys and community engagement. So I will absolutely come to that. If there was any other questions or anything that was more specific, what you see is a combination of the department requests. It's a combination of things that Metro has wanted to do and just didn't have the funding in the budget. And what I'd like us to think about, and we don't have to decide today, I want to hit a couple of the other things. But you can see how long it will take us to get through everything if we do all, like this, those weren't even the complete asks for those departments. So there might, so if we get through this framework, there might be things that I'd like you to kind of look at it. If you have questions, let's go through the questions maybe at our next meeting, because we might have a way of saying, the mayor did make a commitment for additional funds to Barnes Fund. If that's something that we don't really need to discuss, we can say that's going to go in the next resolution. If there's something else that that we start to talk about, or as we say, rather than, like you can see in the very first item, that's kind of been our city's emergency response. We don't know, and I know Councilmember Johnson, you had asked one time about, well, will we see all those contracts? We don't know those contracts today. We know who we're doing business with. They've all either been newly approved contracts that have come to council, or they were existing contracts. But if we're going to have a reserve for the city's response, right now we are still using CARES Act funds. But a lot of those funds, remember, are in that reserve, for which we could actually preserve that reserve and start using ARP funds because they meet all the criteria. So there's a few ways that we might be able to get some of these moved along maybe a little bit quicker. With only meeting once a month, I just want to make sure we get through as many of these as possible, as quickly as possible. But we didn't want you to feel like we were just kind of dropping things on you one at a time. Like this, and I thank you for, your diligence to today. Those were really important issues that just needed to get through the process, especially with OFS. You can see they still have an application process, and so it was important, but that was a little out of context. Here's the bigger context that we really wanted you to have. And so in this larger context, we can start saying, here's who we want to hear from, here's what we want to do, and that's what that could look like. So I've got Councilwoman Gamble and then Sepulveda.
Thank you. And to speak to what you mentioned about what we heard today from the Office of Family Safety and the Fire Department, in my opinion, these were carryovers from last year that we knew
And a
were
lot of our
needs
department requests
last
are.
year that we were not able to fund. So I appreciate you all bringing those for us. As far as the rest of this list, though, speak to Councilmember Sepulveda's point, it would be helpful to have some data to help drive our decisions on these. So I wouldn't be prepared today to say that we're actually going to do this for the borrowers fund or do this for that or the other without some data and measurements to go with that. So if we can get that information or put something in place so that we can start to gather that information, then that'll be helpful.
Absolutely. And we'll, as soon as, if anybody else has questions, but after Councilwoman Sepulveda, we'll start talking about surveys and community engagement. Oh.
I agree that those two departments didn't need to come before us today. It was very important that we got that done. We are also seeing quite a bit of evictions right now. And so one of the things that we had talked about was, free legal services. So I guess I bring that up to ask if there is going to be a mechanism to make sure we hear certain things sooner rather than later, and what that would look like and what process we should follow.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit, and this will start to get into the surveys and community engagement, about nonprofits. And I've been getting calls and requests and emails, since May, earlier than May, but May 10th is when the guidance first came out and people started to say, well, when can we apply? So if we just had an open application, we would get everything. And I think, this is my opinion, I want to hear from you, the volume would keep us from getting to some of those priorities quickly, if we were just going to make sure that we got through every application. I think we may want to consider it, in this very, specific term of buckets. Sorry, it's a term I use a lot. But how do we look at certain components? Navigation is one that I think is really critical. We've talked about this. We've heard from some of the nonprofits that there is a lot of funding. There is still state funding from CARES Act. We have our own, rental assistance programs. There, if it's some of the Small Business Administration, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, there are a lot of federal programs, but folks don't know how to tap into it. So this idea of navigation is critical, and we would put that rent guidance and legal help in that navigation bucket. Now, I will say I also think that the legal assistance goes beyond navigation, that there's going to be some longer term that might not have anything to do with evictions. But right now, it really is, how can we help folks tap into the funds that are available? And so I'd like to suggest that we might look at navigation and look at nonprofits first who are doing work to be that connector to the funds that are available and help folks. And I think our legal work would fall into that. So that's one way of looking at the nonprofits. But again, that's kind of very specific, and we haven't looked at the bigger picture. We did talk last meeting, do we update the Equity Alliance survey? And I think we felt it would probably be still very representative of the current conditions. We talked about that our own social services team, led by Renee Pratt, they gather research on all levels of different income-based, poverty, neighborhoods, access to food, access to healthcare, access to different social services. So that's some really powerful information that I think you would really appreciate hearing from Ms. Pratt and her team at Social Services. The other thing that I think we could use the hub for is also to survey our nonprofits, is to say, what are the greatest needs you're seeing? What is the growth? So we say greatest needs, but let's put it in context. Let's ask them to tell us how many, cases, how many people were you having to feed? How many families were, all of those numbers and what has been the growth in that need, and we can start to see a pattern in the highest areas of need. So we could use the hub. We could use our nonprofit partners, whether they go through the hub or not, and then we could use the hub for the general public, and we could create a survey. I think what I would like to see us do is make sure that we provide the framework. Suggestions that don't mean eligibility may not be as helpful. We may get suggestions all across the board. So I think we use our guiding principles, use what we have, and ask them for input in those areas. Does that, what am I missing? What would we be missing if those were the approaches we took? So it would be social services, our nonprofit partner survey, and then a general public survey under the guidelines of our guiding principles.
The only thing I can think of is, we didn't have a tremendous amount of funds last time, and we relied heavily on just a handful of partners. Now, we've got extensive reports that list the numbers of people and some of the data about the people served through that. But what we may be missing is just a sense from Pathway Lending or Second Harvest or United Way or Entrepreneur Center or NBIC about, how did it go? I mean, what are the stories? I mean, we know that money got dispersed. I'm not sure if we know if we were effective at really helping turn the corner for folks. And so I don't know if there's some sort of narrative or feedback they could provide us that's just something a little bit less than a data sheet, because that makes it kind of hard to understand if it was really effective.
I know this isn't exactly what you're asking, but we did have, and I will see if somebody in communications can help me pull it together. But if you recall, when we were doing it used to be daily, then it was twice weekly, then it was weekly press conferences, usually at the end, we would have an opportunity for there to be a variety of different speakers. And often what we did is we surveyed Pathway and we said, could you please give us the name of 2, 3, 4, 5 businesses that you helped, and then we reached out to those, and one of those small business owners would come and speak. We had somebody from United Way. We said, can you have one of your partners come speak to the families that they've been serving? We had somebody from NBIC, one of the small businesses that they served. So we did try to capture the stories as an example so that we didn't just have numbers and stats to make it more meaningful. I'd have to go back and try to pull those. We did have a grandiose idea that, we could have some annual report, but I'm a team of one and I'm not very good at graphics.
Yeah, and obviously the stories are important because they give you a sense of really what was accomplished. But I guess I'm also talking in terms of feedback about what they might have wanted us to do differently, or what type of obstacles or constraints they may have felt in terms of how they were helping people based on how we approached it. Because I think we're going to want to address a lot, and listed in these in this framework are a lot of the same things that we've already talked about before. And we can do exactly what we did before, but if there's anything we could learn that could make us do it even better this time, I just didn't know if we could figure out a format for that would be a little bit further along than just, kind of new data from folks that haven't, participated before.
So you're not just the partners funded under CARES Act, but new partners to come?
Well, no, I was actually just referring to the fact that we're going to, through the hub and other ways, try to reach out to people we haven't heard from before. And I was just saying, is there something that we could learn from the ones we have used before that we don't know yet?
No, it's a great idea.
I'll add to that a little bit. So I guess I'm thinking the big question is like assessing the needs, so the big picture to see how this is going to filter down to this sheet, right? Contribute and enrich this piece of paper with input from different stakeholder groups, and certainly the hub would be one way of doing it through just individuals going to current partners that got funded and listed, and it's like, so what? That seems very, like a very good, appropriate way. The other one that I think of is the funding community. Because one of my concerns of asking nonprofits is, I mean, they're going to sing their song. You know, I'm going to sing my own song of what I, yeah, right. And so, but you know, the Middle Tennessee Funders Forum, right? Having a facilitated session with those folks who are at the head of these foundations or philanthropic arms of those that are funding the nonprofit sector in Nashville, and just really having a thought partnership conversation with them might be one of the most productive ways, because they really are going to, they have their feelers out, they know who they're funding, and they you know, much more than just your efforts. And so we may learn a lot just from talking to them that would be less biased information than if you just ask the nonprofits, because everybody's going to tell you what. The Middle Tennessee Funders Forum it's a loose coalition. It's not an I don't think it's an organization. It's a membership organization of the funding community in town. So the big foundations, private foundations, United Ways, the heads of the dictator of
Baptist Healing Trust, HCA Foundation, Community Foundation.
Right. It's all the leaders of those, and then some of the large corporations in town that do important philanthropic giving have usually their community represented engagement folks that are part, and they get together. I don't know how often, once a month, once a quarter. I'm not sure, but
I spoke to them about this time last year with some of the things that we were seeing come through the committee.
Right. And so anyway, just asking them to give us will inform us how does that filter down to this.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Gamble.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I think that would be helpful, but I would still want to have those other channels to get information, because one thing that we found with the Community Safety Partnership Fund is that we really wanted to reach those smaller organizations that may not be members of some of these larger organizations, but are making an impact in those communities, in those underserved communities particularly. So as long as we leave it open for anyone, and then we let people know that it's out there, and we're looking for them, that's another piece of that puzzle.
Absolutely. So I think we've covered, you know, again, I'll just kind of say it again, our social services team could present to us. We could hear from the funders, you know, group, but also then to survey our nonprofits and to survey the public. I think we'll rely on our council members, all 40, to send, you know, if we have a link to the hub, that we would ask you all, how do we get to the folks we need to hear from? Also, our nonprofit partners will be great in sharing that information also, social media and whatnot. So we will really probably need to look to those surveys. Does this committee want to review the surveys and the questions? Is that something you want to be happening in between meetings?
Who would be charged with developing the survey? Is that something that would be in-house, or is that?
I think we would do it
I know we
in-house.
contracted Equity Alliance the last time to help with the survey. The reason I ask that is because, you know, I'm not a survey expert. I'm.
Well, we have the folks at MAC and Social Services that really do this, and so I would be reaching out to them.
Yeah, I think that would be a better,
I'm not
more
gonna write
prudent
it,
of
but
our
we'll
time
coordinate it.
to have someone develop that, and then of course we could review it and sign off on it and ask any questions and make any additions. But I think a better use of our time would be actually getting the data.
Yes.
As opposed to reviewing the data.
I agree. If they could create the survey, and if they could send it to us so we could approve it. I would just ask them to leave a space somewhere. I don't know how they're gonna put this, but just write in comments, just in case we miss something.
Yep.
But I suspect it's gonna look something like along the lines of the guiding principles, I guess, as big picture.
Okay. So that gives you an idea. I hope the framework helps kind of that. We've been looking at expenses. We have proposed, depending what you hear and desire, you may make different recommendations, but that then we will try to bring in the different departments and priorities and items and try to move them through as fast as we can with only meeting once a month. The first priority for nonprofits would be to seek out folks who could help with navigation, whether that is legal assistance, connecting funds. That can get tough, but it's really important. There's so many, there are a lot of funds out there. I'm not saying that there's so much or too much, but there are quite a bit of funds. We just need folks to know how to access them. I guess not.
I would think it's worth it to sort of open it up to whoever is in that space. If navigation.
That's right.
I'm just talking along.
That's right. We could hear you, but streaming probably doesn't like it.
I think I would think it would be important to open it up to not just nonprofits, just because I think that's such an important piece. And I think our nonprofits do a great job, but if there is a for-profit company that's going to do better or has a better, network or whatever, I don't want to just limit it to that, because I want to get, at the end of the day, I just want to get the message out. And whoever's best for that job is best for the job.
The one thing I need to make sure of is just the procurement process.
Gotcha.
That's my only concern about timing.
Yep.
That the applications, I just have to check with those that know more than I.
Yeah, sure.
Who do you call for quality navigation services? It's like, are there people that you can direct people to? Or are we going to basically be picking somebody that then is going to have to go try to figure it out?
No, there are a lot. Sometimes even navigation services is case management, just as you heard Diane referring to. There's a lot of different ways to call it. So it might be case management, where it really is folks who do know, are familiar, do the research, they know what funds are out there, and they're available to help folks. But it's so time consuming that what you're really doing is it's a lot of compensation. It's employee time. And the nonprofit world's pretty good about knowing who does that.
I think one of the things that's kind of complicated about this over the next 3 years is if our city's doing better than the state, but if we don't get to a higher vaccination rate, the amount of the funds that we have that need to be held aside or one variant after another for city services is kind of daunting to think about. That this is not something that we can just say, well, by the end of this year, it'll be done. Right. I don't know that we can assume that, and I think we've got to factor that in.
Agreed. Representative Love, did I see? Let me get your mic.
Just a thought for future meeting conversation as we do try to assist the general public in their own navigation processes. There are going to be unfortunately, a lot of malicious entities that will offer services that they really can't provide for a fee. Mm-hmm. And I say this because I had a gentleman call me today and told me that someone told him that they could help him get ARP funds for a certain amount of money. I said, well, I don't think what you're trying to get these funds for qualifies. And I advise them to be very careful. And so as we navigate this process, there may be an opportunity for us to even, through our communications officially, let the general public and nonprofits know that they need to be very cautious and leery of those who may not have the expertise, but just present themselves as, I can help you get these funds. And then you find yourself almost like in the tornado where people were coming and volunteering to cut down trees for $10,000 and this sort of thing. And so I don't want the general public to get harmed, or nonprofits who are frustrated with the process, right? And think that there's an expert out there who has studied this and knows how to get it, to get them in a situation. So that's just a thought for later on as we process these things and try to find our best way to let the general public know what direction we want to go in, but also how to qualify for these funds. Excellent point.
One of the things I'm going to ask you to do, there's a little bit of a dual purpose here. In the reports that I sent out was our annual performance report. I think it says annual performance report. There's not a whole lot in there. It was the required ARP report. There were two. There's one called an interim report that was much more dollars reporting. It's more the quantitative. And then there's the performance report, which is more of a qualitative report. That qualitative report is actually required to be posted on our website. It is under our financial reports on the finance department page. Please read through that. It's not quite as, because we had not actually spent any of the funds, there was not a whole lot to report. It also asked, what do you intend to do with the funds? Well, we don't have an approved plan, so we could say, well, this is what we think we're going to do, but we're kind of, we still have to present to our committee and to our council. But what you'll see is that there are a lot of questions about the qualitative questions are, who are you serving? What evidence-based approach are you using? Did you base this program on? What are the results? And so it's not, the reporting for the CARES Act was just tell us who you spent, the dollars, report the contracts, and what was the nature of the contract. This time, they don't even ask about the contracts and the vendors. They want to know by project, by expenditure category. That's what that interim report will look like. And there are 6 different categories, but there's 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and they're all listed. So that's how we're going to have to report the dollars from a quantitative perspective. But then this performance report really gets into the program. And as we talk about funding nonprofits, that's really going to be a lot of the program work. So we also have to know that our nonprofits can report back to us. And I suggest that part of our application process actually be kind of a reverse engineer, so that they're filling that information out on the front end so that we know when we award a grant that we're going to get that information on the back end. So as we look at an application and who can be the right, kind of what Representative Love was saying, who do we know is trustworthy, can report back? Sarah Finley was saying, who does this work? We're going to have to gather that on the front end, and that will really help us with the reporting side. But as Kristen mentioned, probably pretty quickly, I'm going to be coming to look for some reporting assistance through consultants. I've been actually talking to the state and looking at some of the different guidance that is available, because this is way more than we had for CARES Act, way more. So we're going to try to build some good process in with that reverse engineering of the form, but we also need really a team of experts. This is a lot of money, and we don't want to put the city at risk, and and I'm only one person. So I won't go through those reports. There's not a whole lot in there because we didn't obligate but 2.9 million of our total allocation. So you have those reports. I didn't have anything else to report today. Did anybody else have any other questions? Comments? Okay, we will be getting draft resolutions prepared. Thank you, and then we will disperse them. We'll need quick turnaround time because they're due Friday by noon. All right, 5 o'clock, we are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, Or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.